Welcome to the heart of Chicago, where art, architecture, and public space come together in a way few other cities can match. Millennium Park is more than just a park. It's a bold statement of Chicago's creativity, resilience, and ambition. Opened in 2004, it was originally planned as a modest addition to Grant Park. But as with many things in Chicago's history, ambition took over. What was supposed to be a simple project transformed into a monumental, billion-dollar urban masterpiece that helped reshape the city's global image. Millennium Park is best known for one feature above all others, Cloud Gate, though almost everyone simply calls it the Beam. Designed by British artist Anish Kapoor, this highly polished stainless steel sculpture was inspired by liquid mercury. Its seamless surface reflects and distorts the Chicago skyline, Lake Michigan, and the ever-curious visitors gathered around it. The beam weighs over 100 tons, yet it gives the illusion of weightlessness. Walking beneath its arch creates a surreal experience. Reflections twist reality in all directions, creating a kaleidoscope of shapes and faces. The story behind the beam isn't without drama. When the sculpture was first unveiled in 2004, it was unfinished, covered in seams and scaffolding. Many critics mocked it, calling it a failure of design and execution. But Kapoor remained patient. The polishing process took years longer than expected, with engineers struggling to perfect its mirrored finish. Once complete, the beam silenced its critics and quickly became a modern icon of the city, rivaling the Willis Tower and Wrigley Field in fame. There are also whispers of myths surrounding the beam. Some locals joke that it's a portal to alternate dimensions because of the bizarre optical effects when you stand beneath it. Others say touching its underbelly brings good luck, though that's more superstition than truth. Still, thousands each day reach out to touch its cool, smooth surface, hoping perhaps to take a little magic with them. But Millennium Park is more than just the beam. It's home to the Crown Fountain, with its ever-changing faces and playful water displays, the J. Pritzker Pavilion, designed by the legendary Frank Gehry, and the serene Lurie Garden, all together forming a place where art, nature, and music blend seamlessly. This park isn't just a place to visit, it's where locals gather for free concerts, yoga classes, and ice skating beneath the skyline. It's where Chicago shows off its heart. Millennium Park proves that public space can be more than green lawns and walking paths. It can become the beating heart of a city, alive with stories, history, art, and just a little bit of urban legend. Tall above the Chicago skyline, the Willis Tower is more than just a skyscraper. It's a symbol of ambition, engineering marvel, and the city's unshakable confidence. Originally known as the Sears Tower, this building held the title of the world's tallest from its completion in 1973 until 1998. Rising 1,450 feet with 110 stories, it remains the tallest building in Chicago and one of the most recognizable towers in the world. The story of the Willis Tower begins in the early 1970s when Sears, then the largest retailer in the world, needed a headquarters big enough to bring together thousands of employees scattered across the city. The architectural firm Skidmore, Owings and Merrill came up with a revolutionary solution: bundled together 9 square tubes of steel to form a superstructure that could rise higher than anything else on Earth. This bundled tube design not only gave the building its distinct shape but also set a new standard in skyscraper engineering. It was bold, it was innovative, and it was unapologetically Chicago. Today, the building is no longer called the Sears Tower in name, but for many locals, it always will be. In 2009, the London-based insurance broker Willis Group acquired the naming rights, sparking widespread protest from Chicagoans who still stubbornly refer to it as Sears Tower out of loyalty and habit. It's more than just a name, it's part of the city's identity. The highlight of the tower for visitors is undoubtedly the Skydeck, perched on the 103rd floor. From here, on a clear day, you can see across 4 states, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan. But the real thrill comes from stepping out onto the ledge, a series of glass boxes that extend 4 feet beyond the building's edge. Suspended over 1,300 feet above the streets below, these glass-floored platforms offer views straight down, making for one of the most heart-pounding photo opportunities anywhere in the world. Over the years, the Skydeck has attracted its share of myths and urban legends. Some say the building sways so much on windy days you can feel it, and while it's true that it's designed to flex, most visitors won't notice it. Others tell stories of daring window washers and high-rise workers who once roamed its heights without the modern safety gear of today. One popular myth even claims that dropping a penny from the top could kill someone below, but physics tells us that's more fantasy than fact. Beyond the myths and records, Willis Tower remains a living part of Chicago's story. It's a place where tourists test their bravery on the ledge, where office workers glance out at the clouds from their desks, and where the city's spirit of innovation continues to reach ever upward. From its soaring heights, you don't just see Chicago, you understand why this city has always dared to reach for the sky. Stretching out into the blue waters of Lake Michigan, Navy Pier is one of Chicago's most beloved and enduring landmarks. More than just a tourist attraction, it's a place woven deeply into the city's history, with stories of transformation that reflect Chicago's own evolution through time. Spanning over 3,300 feet, this iconic pier offers stunning skyline views, endless entertainment, and a connection to the city's maritime past. The story of Navy Pier began in 1916 when it opened as Municipal Pier, designed as both a shipping facility and a leisure space for Chicago's growing population. It was part of famed architect Daniel Burnham's grand vision to create a more beautiful and functional lakefront for the people of Chicago. In its earliest years, the pier buzzed with freight traffic during the week and transformed into a playground for families on weekends, offering concerts, picnics, and dances beneath the open sky. In 1927, the pier was renamed Navy Pier to honor the Navy veterans who served in World War I, a tribute that would later deepen during World War II when the pier served as a training ground for pilots and sailors. Thousands of Navy recruits marched across its wooden planks, while fighter pilots practiced takeoffs and landings on Lake Michigan. That history lingers even now in the name, a reminder of the pier's role beyond entertainment. After the war, Navy Pier struggled to find partially abandoned, a shadow of its former self. But in the 1990s, a massive revitalization effort brought the pier back to life. Today, it stands as one of the most visited attractions in the Midwest, drawing millions of visitors each year. It's home to theaters, museums, gardens, restaurants, and one of its most iconic features, the Centennial Wheel. This towering Ferris wheel, standing nearly 200 feet tall, offers panoramic views of the lake and the city skyline, turning slowly above the crowds like a symbol of Chicago's playful spirit. Of course, a place this old and storied collects its share of myths and legends. Some say Navy Pier is haunted by the ghosts of sailors and pilots who trained there and never returned. Stories of unexplained noises, shadowy figures, and eerie feelings in certain corners of the pier persist among workers and visitors alike. Whether you believe in spirits or not, the pier's long history certainly lends itself to imagination. Today, Navy Pier is more than just a collection of attractions. It's a celebration of Chicago's relationship with its lakefront, a place where locals and visitors alike come to stroll, laugh, eat, and watch the boats glide past. From fireworks lighting up the night sky to the simple joy of a walk along its breezy paths, Navy Pier captures the spirit of a city always connected to its water, its history, and its people. Institute of Chicago is more than just a museum, it's a cultural treasure chest, a guardian of artistic masterpieces, and one of the most respected art institutions in the world. Nestled on Michigan Avenue, right beside Millennium Park, this grand building welcomes over 1 million visitors each year, all eager to explore its vast and diverse collection. From ancient artifacts to contemporary works, the Art Institute tells stories that span thousands of years and countless cultures. Founded in 1879, the museum originally served as both a school and a gallery, part of the city's post-Great Fire resurgence when Chicago was determined to rebuild itself not just physically but culturally. The current Beaux-Arts style building opened in 1893 as part of the World's Columbian Exposition, an event that helped define Chicago's place on the global stage. Flanked by its famous bronze lion statues at the entrance, the Art Institute has stood as a symbol of the city's commitment to art, education, and innovation ever since. One of the museum's most famous works is Grant Wood's American Gothic, a painting that has become a cornerstone of American art history. Visitors often come to see the stoic farmer and his daughter up close, perhaps surprised by how small the painting is in person given its massive presence in popular culture. Then there's Georges Seurat's A Sunday on La Grande Jatte, a monumental example of pointillism that invites viewers to get lost in the tiny dots of color forming a serene riverside scene. Of course, no visit is complete without standing before Marc Chagall's stunning stained glass windows or wandering through the museum's celebrated collection of Impressionist works, where Monet, Renoir, and Degas hang in peaceful, sunlit galleries. The museum is also home to ancient armor, African masks, Japanese prints, and modernist sculptures, a reflection of how the Art Institute honors creativity across time and geography. Stories and myths cling to this place, as they do to any institution with such deep roots. Some say the museum is haunted, particularly in the older galleries. Guards have whispered about cold spots, unexplained footsteps, and paintings that seem to shift ever so slightly when no one is watching. Others speak of the lions out front, claiming they protect the building not just symbolically but spiritually, warding off ill fortune through storms, wars, and even the Great Depression. Beyond the myths and masterpieces, the Art Institute remains a living institution. It's where students learn the craft of creation, where scholars uncover forgotten histories, and where everyday visitors experience the quiet, transformative power of art. Whether you're gazing at a centuries-old statue or losing yourself in the colors of a modern canvas, the Art Institute of Chicago offers a timeless reminder: art is not just something we observe, it's something that shapes who we are. Perched on the edge of Lake Michigan, the Shed Aquarium has been a gateway to the underwater world for generations of visitors. Opened in 1930, it was the largest indoor aquarium in the world at the time, and even today, it remains one of Chicago's most visited and beloved attractions. Its neoclassical design hints at the grandeur of the city's past, but step inside and you'll discover a place where oceans, rivers, and lakes come alive in vivid color. The story of Shed Aquarium begins with John G. Shed, a wealthy businessman and president of Marshall Field and Company, one of Chicago's most iconic department stores. Shed wanted to give the city a world-class aquarium, a place that would inspire awe and education, and help Chicago maintain its reputation as a forward-thinking, world-class city. Though he passed away before the aquarium opened, his vision was fully realized. The aquarium was part of Chicago's grand plan to create a museum campus that would celebrate science, history, and nature. One of the highlights of Shed is its vast collection of aquatic life. Home to more than 32,000 animals, the exhibits span ecosystems from the Amazon rainforest to the icy waters of the Arctic. Visitors can come face-to-face with beluga whales, sea otters, penguins, sharks, and an astonishing variety of fish from all corners of the planet. The Oceanarium, added in 1991, remains a crowd favorite, a massive space that replicates the Pacific Northwest coast, complete with tide pools and waves crashing against rocky shores. Beyond the exhibits, Shed Aquarium is rich in stories. During World War II, like many institutions, the aquarium faced tough times, including financial hardships and staffing shortages. Yet it remained open, offering Chicagoans a peaceful escape and a glimpse of nature's resilience even during humanity's darkest moments. Over the decades, Shed has been at the forefront of conservation efforts, helping to protect endangered species and rehabilitate injured marine animals. Of course, where there is history, there are also myths. Some visitors and even staff have whispered about ghostly sightings within the grand halls of Shed. Tales circulate about shadowy figures seen near the Caribbean Reef exhibit late at night, or unexplained noises echoing from empty galleries. Whether these stories are fueled by the aquarium's old architecture or simply the imagination of night staff, they add a layer of mystery to a place already filled with wonders. But myths aside, the real magic of Shed Aquarium is its power to connect people with the natural world. For many, it's their first encounter with creatures they've only seen in books or on screens. For others, It's a place to reflect on the beauty and fragility of our planet's oceans and waterways. From the youngest child marveling at a jellyfish to the seasoned traveler watching dolphins leap through the water, Shed continues to inspire wonder, curiosity, and a deep respect for the life beneath the waves. Museum of Natural History stands as one of Chicago's most iconic institutions, a place where science, history, and imagination come together under one grand roof. Located on the city's museum campus, the Field Museum has welcomed millions of visitors since its founding in 1893. Originally built to house the biological and anthropological collections from the World's Columbian Exposition, it quickly grew into one of the world's leading natural history museums, a title it proudly holds to this day. The museum's vast collection spans everything from ancient fossils to cultural artifacts from civilizations long vanished. But no single exhibit is more famous than Sue the T-Rex. Discovered in South Dakota in 1990, Sue is the largest and most complete Tyrannosaurus rex skeleton ever unearthed. Standing over 40 feet long, Sue commands attention in the museum's Grand Hall, capturing the imagination of children and adults alike. Her bones tell a story of survival, injury, and the harsh realities of prehistoric life, offering a rare and tangible connection to a world that existed 67 million years ago. Beyond Sue, the museum is home to other unforgettable highlights. There are ancient Egyptian tombs, complete with mummies and artifacts that speak of beliefs about the afterlife. There are exhibits on ancient Americas, Asia, and Africa, showcasing the art, culture, and ingenuity of human societies through time. The Granger Hall of Gems dazzles with precious stones, while the Evolving Planet exhibit traces the entire history of life on Earth, from single-celled organisms to the rise of humanity. The stories behind the Field Museum are just as fascinating as its exhibits. It was named in honor of Marshall Field, the wealthy Chicago businessman whose generous donation made the museum possible. Over the years, the museum has been home to countless groundbreaking research projects and expeditions, with scientists uncovering new species, studying ancient DNA, and piecing together Earth's complex history. Of course, with a museum this old and filled with relics from the past, myths and ghost stories are inevitable. Some staff members have reported strange occurrences, lights flickering, unexplained footsteps, or the feeling of being watched when alone in the galleries at night. Whispers tell of spirits lingering near the Egyptian artifacts or among the taxidermy displays. Whether these stories are truth or just the product of overactive imaginations, they add an extra layer of intrigue to the museum's timeless atmosphere. Beyond myths and legends, the Field Museum's true magic lies in its ability to inspire curiosity. It invites visitors to ask questions about the world and their place within it. From towering dinosaurs to the tiniest gemstone, from ancient cultures to the mysteries of evolution, the Field Museum stands as a reminder that history is all around us, waiting to be explored, understood, and preserved for future generations. The Adler Planetarium holds a special place not just in Chicago's skyline, but in the history of science itself. Opened in 1930, it was the first planetarium in the United States, a bold statement at the time about Chicago's commitment to education, innovation, and the pursuit of knowledge. Perched at the tip of the museum campus on Lake Michigan, the Adler offers one of the city's most stunning views, a sweeping panorama of both the lake and the skyscrapers that define Chicago's horizon. The planetarium was the brainchild of Max Adler, a retired executive from Sears, Roebuck and Company. Inspired by a visit to Germany's Zeiss Planetarium, Adler believed that Chicago needed a place where the mysteries of the universe could be made accessible to the public. He donated not only the funds but also his passion, helping create an institution that would ignite curiosity about the cosmos for generations to come. The Adler quickly became more than just a building with a dome, it became a portal to the stars for millions of visitors. Inside, the Adler has always been about more than just telescopes and planets. Its exhibits tell the grand story of humanity's relationship with the heavens, from ancient astrolabes to modern space exploration. The museum's collection of scientific instruments is considered one of the finest in the world, featuring artifacts that date back centuries and remind us that the quest to understand the sky is as old as civilization itself. One of the highlights for many visitors is the Granger Sky Theater, a state-of-the-art space where audiences are transported through the universe in dazzling, immersive shows. Whether it's flying past Saturn's rings or exploring distant galaxies, the Adler uses cutting-edge technology to make the wonders of the universe feel both immediate and awe-inspiring. The Dome Observatory, located just outside the main building, allows guests to look through Chicago's largest publicly accessible telescope, connecting the past's curiosity with the present's scientific tools. Of course, a place devoted to the mysteries of space is bound to collect a few myths of its own. Some visitors have reported unusual feelings in the older parts of the building, whispers of ghostly figures among the antique telescopes or unexplained sounds echoing through empty halls late at night. Staff often dismiss these tales as tricks of the light or the imagination running wild in a place designed to inspire wonder. Still, stories persist, adding a layer of the unknown to a place already focused on exploring the infinite. Beyond the legends, the Adler Planetarium's true power lies in its mission to make the vastness of the universe feel personal. It's a place where science meets imagination, where the questions of what lies beyond our world become not just academic but deeply human. From the ancient tools of stargazers to the latest images from deep space, the Adler reminds us that the stars above have always been, and always will be, part of our story. Chicago's most beloved and iconic landmarks, a centerpiece of Grant Park and a symbol of the city's deep connection to its lakefront. Officially known as the Clarence Buckingham Memorial Fountain, it was dedicated in 1927 as a gift from philanthropist Kate Sturgis Buckingham in honor of her late brother. The fountain's grandeur and elegance reflect not only a tribute to family but also the ambition of a city determined to present itself as both cultured and modern. Designed by architect Edward Bennett with sculptures by Marcel Loyot, the fountain was inspired by the grand fountains of Versailles but given a distinctly Chicago twist. Its massive, Rococo-style design features seahorses representing the 4 states that border Lake Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana. At its center, the fountain's geyser can shoot water up to 150 feet into the air, surrounded by a series of smaller jets that create a dynamic, ever-changing water display. During the summer months, the fountain's hourly shows, complete with music and lights, transform it from a daytime marvel to a nighttime spectacle, casting shimmering reflections over the waters of Grant Park. The history of Buckingham Fountain is tied closely to Chicago's aspirations during the early 20th century. Built at a time when the city was eager to showcase its status as a world-class destination, the fountain was intended to serve as a visual anchor between the lakefront and the growing skyline. It also served a practical purpose, symbolizing Lake Michigan as the source of the city's life-giving water. In fact, when it was completed, Buckingham Fountain was considered one of the largest and most elaborate fountains in the world, powered by a pumping system that remains an engineering marvel to this day. Over the years, the fountain has become a symbol of Chicago itself. It has been featured in countless films, TV shows, and postcards, and is instantly recognizable to both locals and visitors. Perhaps most famously, it served as the opening shot in the popular television series Married, with Children, cementing its place in pop culture. As with many historic landmarks, Buckingham Fountain has its share of myths and stories. Some say the fountain is haunted, with reports of ghostly figures seen wandering the nearby park after dark. Others claim that if you make a wish while the central jet is at its highest, your wish is more likely to come true, though this is more playful urban legend than fact. Another enduring tale suggests the fountain's seahorses come alive at night, circling the basin when no one is watching, a story perhaps fueled more by imagination than reality. Beyond the myths, Buckingham Fountain remains a place of beauty, relaxation, and inspiration. It's where couples take engagement photos, where families gather to watch the lights dance across the water, and where visitors pause to admire the harmony of art, engineering, and nature. In a city known for its towering architecture and bustling streets, Buckingham Fountain offers a moment of stillness, a reminder that beauty can be both grand and peaceful. The Riverwalk is one of the city's most remarkable urban transformations, a once overlooked stretch of industrial riverfront that has become a celebrated pedestrian haven. Stretching along the south bank of the Chicago River from Lake Shore Drive to Lake Street, the Riverwalk is now a place where architecture, history, and modern city life converge in a vibrant, walkable space filled with restaurants, art, and activities. The history of the Chicago River itself is deeply intertwined with the story of the city's rise. In the 19th century, the river was notorious not for its beauty, but for its pollution. In fact, the river's flow was famously reversed in 1900 through a feat of engineering designed to protect the city's drinking water supply in Lake Michigan. This bold move was one of the great engineering achievements of its time and helped shape Chicago's reputation as a city willing to challenge nature to secure its future. For decades, however, the river's banks were little more than service roads for industry, largely ignored by the public. It wasn't until the early 2000s that city planners reimagined the potential of this waterfront space. Through careful design and ambitious vision, the Riverwalk was transformed from concrete utility corridors into a lush, accessible promenade that invites people to slow down, take in the views, and enjoy the water in the heart of a bustling metropolis. Today, the Chicago Riverwalk is divided into distinctive rooms or sections, each offering something unique. There's the Marina Plaza, perfect for people watching and dining, the Cove, popular for kayaking and river activities, and the River Theater, where wide steps double as seating areas with dramatic views of the surrounding skyscrapers. Public art installations dot the pathway, and the bridges overhead frame the experience, reminding visitors of the city's rich architectural heritage. The Riverwalk isn't just about leisure, it's a living tribute to Chicago's ongoing dialogue between nature and urban development. As you walk its length, you can see how the river once powered factories and carried freight, and how now it offers a stage for beauty and recreation. Water taxis, architectural boat tours, and kayakers share the waterway, creating a lively, ever-changing scene. Like any place with history, the Chicago River and its Riverwalk carry their share of myths and stories. Some say the river is haunted by the spirits of those lost in the SS Eastland disaster of 1915, when a passenger ship capsized in the river, claiming more than 800 lives. There are also tales of ghostly apparitions beneath the bridges, where workers once toiled under dangerous conditions. While these stories remain in the realm of folklore, they add a layer of mystery to a river that has witnessed so much of Chicago's dramatic past. Ultimately, the Chicago Riverwalk stands as a symbol of the city's resilience and creativity. What was once polluted and forgotten is now a place of beauty and connection, where history flows alongside progress, and where every step offers a new perspective on this ever-evolving city. The Chicago Architecture River Cruise is often described as one of the very best ways to experience the city, offering a journey through the heart of Chicago's history, innovation, and urban beauty. For anyone interested in architecture, history, or simply seeing a city from a unique perspective, this cruise delivers a rich and memorable experience. Over the course of about 90 minutes, the boat glides through the branches of the Chicago River, passing beneath bridges and alongside towering skyscrapers that seem to tell the story of the city themselves. Chicago's relationship with architecture runs deep. After the Great Fire of 1871 destroyed much of the city, architects and engineers were given a blank slate to rebuild. What followed was nothing short of revolutionary. Chicago became the birthplace of the skyscraper, a city where steel frame construction changed urban skylines forever. The Architecture River Cruise celebrates this history, guiding visitors through the evolution of design, from the early days of the Chicago School to the sleek, glass towers of today's skyline. One of the cruise's highlights is the view of some of the most famous buildings in architectural history. You'll pass the Tribune Tower, with its neo-Gothic spires, and the Wrigley Building, with its elegant clock tower inspired by Spanish cathedrals. You'll see Marina City's distinctive twin towers, often called the Corn Cobs, and hear how these structures redefined urban living. The tour guides, often architecture experts or passionate locals, bring these buildings to life with stories of the architects who dreamed them up. the innovations that made them possible, and the competition that fueled Chicago's rise as a global architectural capital. There's also the story of the river itself. Once a practical but polluted artery for industry, the river has been transformed into a vibrant, clean, and celebrated part of the city, much like the Riverwalk that runs alongside it. The reversal of the river's flow in 1900 remains one of Chicago's most astonishing engineering feats and is often highlighted during the tour as a symbol of the city's bold approach to problem solving. Over time, myths and legends have also taken root along these waters. Some say certain buildings along the river are cursed, plagued by financial failure or unexplained mishaps. Others tell tales of ghostly figures seen on foggy nights drifting along the water's surface, remnants of the river's more tragic moments, such as the Eastland disaster of 1915, when hundreds perished just feet from the shore. Whether fact or fiction, these stories add a layer of mystery to the journey, blending with the concrete and steel to create a richer sense of place. What makes the Chicago Architecture River Cruise truly special is the way it turns the city into a living museum. From the deck of a slow-moving boat, visitors witness how Chicago's skyline is not just a collection of buildings but a timeline of ideas, ambition, and artistry. It's a reminder that cities are built not just of glass and stone, but of dreams, risks, and the stories we tell about them.